Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Jeptha Creed, their Bloody Butcher Creed, 90% Bloody Butcher Corn, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, made at the Jeptha Creed Distillery in the heart of Shelbyville, Kentucky. Signed and approved by the Netherings. 50% ABV. Now, I think I paid about $65 for this bottle at the distillery in August of 2024. I was there. That was a Sunday, I think, and I did 5 distilleries on one day. I started at 9 o'clock at Wild Turkey, and this was one of the last distilleries I visited on that day. I was at Castle Key that day as well. Got rained on down to the underwear almost, and I was not maybe in the best the mental state when I got there. I was a little bit rushed, and it was still the last place. And first of all, I came there and was like, this isn't a real distillery. This is an event center. Yeah, big parking lot, nice building, a lot of advertising with old cliche type of things, old classic cars and so on. Big outdoor area. I think they can do concerts there. There's events and so on. Go into the distillery, and there's a gift shop with tasting areas and even a little bit like a restaurant and so on. It's like, okay, good. This is basically bourbon tourism. Great. Let's see what happens. Do my tour. My tour guide knew the basics of the process, but was more interested in just giving us whiskey and making us happy rather than explaining to a nerd like me detailed moments in the process of distilling. And I just stopped asking questions after a while. All right, so that's how that worked out for me. Now, I do like the concept of this distillery. So I'd like to talk a tiny little bit about the who we are. And we have Joyce Nethery. She is the master distiller of Jeptha Creed Distilling. And she's always had a passion for chemistry. She earned her master's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Louisville Speed Scientific School. Never heard of the speed part. And worked for 14 years as a process engineer in industrial scale distillation. For me, that means ethanol production. If you ever had gasoline, you have 10% ethanol, that's that. And she spent, and respect, I've taught as well. I still teach at the university level. She taught high school chemistry and physics. Both of those teachers for me actually impacted my life. So thank you very much for doing that. And then her husband, Bruce, finally had the dream of opening up a distillery on their farm site. And the rest, they say, is history. They do not do grain to glass. They go from ground to glass. And I think that is actually also an interesting method to say the terroir, the soil is important. The plants that grow in there each year, each season are important. And then the products, in this case, Bloody Butcher corn, that they turn into, they use all of their own homegrown corn here for their distillation process is great. Very, very well done. And since Jeptha Creek is a mother-daughter distillery concept, we have to talk about the daughter, Autumn Nethery. Wonderful video of her online. She talks about the distillery, the history, and so on. She is co-owner and she's marketing manager for Jeptha Creed. Now, the passion for distilling she did not have like her mother did originally. But she took a year and went to Harriet Watt University in Edinburgh, studying craft distilling, craft brewing with some of the best people in the world, and that ignited her passion for spirits. And now she is among the youngest distillery owners in the U.S., and she's one of the founding members of this groundbreaking distillery in Kentucky. Autumn has a bachelor's in marketing from University of Kentucky, and her dream is to actually have Jeptha Creek products in all 50 states of America, as well as internationally. Now, let's go back to the whiskey. We have 90% Bloody Butcher corn, that red corn. We have 5% malted rye, and we have 5% malted barley. I'm going to bring out something here that I think is an interesting comparison because it's blue corn. It's roasted blue corn from Texas, baby blue. Now the true blue, which has been discontinued, was much, much better. Now, I'm not really sure if the rumors are correct or not, but I was told Baconis is going to consistently only now focus on single malts. So their bourbon, their baby blue, their corn whiskeys might be neglected in the next years. It was bought out by Diageo. Jared, the master head distiller there, has mentioned that a few times. They pulled out of the European market so that we only have a couple products left that are just, just still in the warehouse or still on the shelves. There will be no replenishing of those bottles in the near future. Red corn, blue corn. Now, normally we eat sweet corn. I love white sweet corn. A lot of people eat yellow sweet corn. But if you ever heard anything about bourbon, you probably know it's number 2 dent yellow corn. Yellow corn is the color. Dent is the genetic brand or the genetic family. And number 2 is the quality. There is number 1, number 2. Number 2 is cattle feed. All right. So number 1 is what you make for tortillas and other things, cornbread and so on. Number 2 is one below that. And that's what basically all the bourbons that you see over here are made out of. Number 2, yellow dent corn, which is not bad. This is bloody butcher corn. This is an older heirloom varietal of corn. It grows up to 10 feet high. Have you been in a cornfield lately? Usually it's 6 to 8 feet only. 10 is very, very high. And the yield per acre is nothing like you can get with number 2 yellow dent corn. Much lower yields. But it does give it a unique flavor profile. The same thing with blue corn, unique flavor profile. That's why they're using it. This is not indigenous to Texas. It's all from Mexico originally, but it's more of a heirloom crop that is based more in Texas. And I'm not sure if Bloody Butcher is based in Kentucky at all. On the nose, this has a craft moment going on in here. I actually talked to 2 different distillers in Tennessee about Jeptha Creed, and both of them said, wow. I didn't even bring up the subject. They did. They both said, wow, how are they successful with such crappy mildew corn? And the word mildew was used by both of these people. And I get this mildew type of moment on the nose. I would have loved, it says batch number blank. So I hope that's, I would change. So a tiny little bit of mildew in your mashing process, in your fermentation process goes a long way. Now, as you probably know, we cook. That's the mash. And then we put them into a washback, which is where we ferment. And then before they have a Vendome continuous still with a doubler at the end or a thumper, whatever you want to call that. And so what you do is in between you have a beer well. And so that the continuous feed of the continuous beer still, which is called the column still, is guaranteed. So there's just a little buffer there, a little bit of a holding tank so that you can actually continuously feed then the distillation apparatus. And what happens is if you empty one washback into that beer well and you get it down to about a quarter, we need more. Okay, let's empty the next one, pump that in there so we can pump that further on. It mingles, which means that if you have one single washback that someone didn't catch with a little bit of corn in it that was kind of moldy, maybe just a little bit of that, that will actually propagate through a lot of the barrels that happens afterwards. And I assume that is what happens here. I've known that's happened at other distilleries, and that's what I think kind of happened here. And on a bad day when I'm not really on my game and I'm just ignoring certain things with my flavor profile, this can be an excellent whiskey. But on a good day where I'm really, really dissecting the whiskeys, where I'm really, really pulling out the flavors and so on, it bothers me. And today is one of those days, unfortunately, that I get on the nose and I do get on the palate as well. I get sweet. I get a little bit of all. So it has almost like a rye moment. It might be the 5% malted rye. I'm not sure. Caramel, a little bit of ginger, even brown sugar, and there's that little bit of a funk in there that it's like, oh, cinnamon, and it's just, oh, that's a little bit, and that just knocks it off for me. So on a good day, I'm gonna give this for me, a good day means I'm identifying all the profiles C minus. On a bad day where I just no, let's try it. Oh, that's good. It's gonna be a B minus, C plus plus. Nothing wrong with this whiskey unless you're very sensitive to that one note. I did a bottle share, so I've had like 10 different people already having samples. 2 have contacted me and said, Jason, all the products you brought from America are great except for this one. I was like, sorry guys, yeah, I now know as well. All right, so just as a comparison, this is like 40 euros over here. This would be like $65. So it's 46%. Use casks. There is that, I get a lime sherbet moment often with balcones, especially their corn-based products. I think it has to do something with a yeast that they're using there because I get it also in the single malt and I get it also in the bourbon. And so there's some product, the byproduct of that yeast fermentation process that goes through the distillation that I get in most balcones products. And I like. Is the True Blue better? Yes. Is the bourbon better? Yes. Is the single malts from balcones better? Most of them, yes. Is the rye better? That's 100% malted rye, and that has too much of a roasted moment there for me. So that shows my ranking here. Which one would I rather drink on a average? Probably the baby blue. Sorry, Jeptha Creek. That's the way that it is. If you're anywhere close to Shelbyville, Kentucky, drop by. Tours are offered on the hour, every hour, and you might have to wait an hour, but you can go to the bar and get a drink and then take a look at the surroundings, and it's a good place to be. All right, thank you very much, and I love the fact that it's a female-owned and female, I'm going to use the word led, I want to say driven, but led company, and that's great. And they're using their own stuff here, ground to glass. What else do you want? WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. My question of the day is, what other products do you know of that use corn that is not number 2 dent yellow corn? So we have blue corn, we have bloody butcher corn. I had from Sierra Nostra, from Mexico, I had a rainbow corn. There's a black corn. What other products do you know that are using not just yellow corn? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.